Hi, guys. I have a book that I wanted to share with you just for Valentine's Day. Slugs in Love by Susan Pearson with illustrations by Kevin O'Malley. But before we start, who can tell me something about a slug? Who knows some slug facts? Well, I don't know that much about a slug. Where do I go to look for information on something that I don't know that much about? I go to the nonfiction books. Let me see if there is one. Let's see. So I'm going to share my screen because I think I found a good one over here on Epic. You ready? Here it is. It is called Slugs, and it's in the Creepy Crawly series. It's by Megan Morgett Spaniel. Now, again, nonfiction books sometimes have this table of contents. So if we just wanted to know what slugs eat, we might go down here to Slug Snacks on page 14. But today, we want to learn lots of different things about slugs. So let's read the whole thing. Here we go. We're going to pass our table of contents. Look at that. Slow movers. Slugs are mollusks with soft, slimy bodies. Each has a mantle and a breathing hole. Now this part, look right here, this part on the top, kind of harder to see on this one since its mantle is the same color as the rest of its body. But this is the mantle, and look at this breathing hole. Does that look like anything else you've ever seen? Yeah, it kind of looks like our nostrils. You're right. Let's keep going. Slugs live in forests, fields, and gardens. They move slowly on a foot. Look at that. Just like my foot. A slug has a foot, but it just has one foot. It's this muscle on the bottom of it, and that's what helps it move. They use tentacles to see and smell. What do you use to see? That's right, we use our eyes. And what do you use to smell? Our nose. They use these tentacles on their heads. Huh. Imagine if we had tentacles too. Day and night. Slugs can dry up in the sun, and if they dry up, they die. So they stay underground or in the shade during the day. That makes sense. They wouldn't want to dry up. They come out at night or when it rains. So sometimes you will see a slug outside in the day, but it's generally raining. Normally you would see a slug at night. Have any of you ever seen one? I've seen one. I accidentally stepped on one once with my bare feet. Slug snacks. Slugs feed on leaves, fruits, and vegetables. Look at that. Look at him eating. See his mouth there? And remember, these are his tentacles. Wow. Oh, and there's his breathing hole, like a little nostril. They have many tiny teeth to grind their meals. So they kind of grind the leaf up. Slugs are covered in slime. It helps them keep wet. Remember, they don't want to dry out. So having that slime on their skin helps keep them from drying out. Slime helps slugs slide through gardens. They leave a trail everywhere they go. See that trail of slime? This is going to be important in our next book. And those are just some of the little things we learned. Now, a mollusk was one of the things they said on the first page, that a slug is a mollusk. A mollusk is an animal that has a soft body and no backbones. Slugs, clams, and octopuses are all types of mollusks. Isn't that cool? Okay, now, before it gets too dark, I want to share Slugs in Love. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Oh, I'm excited. Slugs in Love. Oh my goodness, look at these pictures. We've got Herbie and Mary Lou. You know what? I'm going to pause this for a second. I think I'm going to go in. Okay, I think this is a lot better. I'm going to show you Herbie and Mary Lou again. You see them? Oh yeah, that's way better. Here we go. Mary Lou loved everything about Herbie. How his slime trail glistened in the dark. How he could stretch himself thin to squeeze inside the cellar window. How he always found the juiciest tomatoes. Though she never spoke a single word to him, she was too shy. She thought about Herbie every morning and every night, and most hours in between. On Monday, while she grazed in the strawberry patch, Herbie filled her mind, and a love poem filled her heart. She wrote it in slime on the watering can. Strawberries are red, blueberries are blue. Herbie is handsome. Love Mary Lou. And see, there's her trail of slime. The next morning, Herbie found it. He looked around. There were already at least 60 slugs in the garden. Which one was Mary Lou? Herbie decided to send a message back. He wrote on the garden hoe, Mary Lou, which one are you? Meet me here at 2:30. Yours truly, Herbie. But the gardener put the hoe away in the barn. So Mary Lou never saw Herbie's message. On Tuesday, while Mary Lou was hiding from the sun, why was Mary Lou hiding from the sun? That's right. She doesn't want to dry out. We know slugs dry out when they're in the sun. While Mary Lou was hiding from the sun in the ivy, she saw Herbie hiding under a stone. There he is. There she is. A poem came to mind immediately. She wrote it on the wheelbarrow later that day. The sun is shining all around. It shines on field and tree. But Herbie's safe beneath a rock. I wish he'd think of me. Love, Mary Lou. Mary Lou loves Herbie, teased Jethro on Wednesday morning. Herbie blushed. Who is Mary Lou? He asked. But Jethro didn't know either. Herbie sent another message. This time he wrote it on the fence where it would stay put. To Mary Lou, you could make my life complete. I'd love to meet someone so sweet. Tell me where and I'll be there. Sincerely, Herbie. But that afternoon, it rained and his letter washed away. Even when Mary Lou was sleeping, poems to Herbie filled her dreams. She woke early and wrote another poem on the scarecrow. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Herbie, Herbie, handsome slug, Mary Lou would love a hug. Love, Mary Lou. That Mary Lou is some poet, said Sammy. Do you know her? Herbie asked excitedly. I think she's one of the brownish ones, said Sammy. All day long, Herbie searched for a brownish slug, but next to the brown dirt, they all looked a little brown. Herbie left another message on the watermelons. Your poems make me happy, your poems make me glad, but I can't find you, Mary Lou, and that makes me feel sad. Your friend, Herbie. But Mary Lou was in the squash patch that day and didn't see Herbie's note. She left another poem behind on the zucchini. Herbie, you would make me as happy as can be if you just pay attention and please, please notice me. Love, Mary Lou. Herbie was at his wits' end. He had been noticing her. Oh, well, her poems anyway. And he'd ask everyone he could think of if they knew her. I think she's the greenish one. I think she's the pinkish one, said Jodelle. Maybe she's the one who likes tomatoes, said Adelaide. All slugs like tomatoes, said Herbie. But Adelaide had given him an idea. Herbie climbed to the top of the tallest tomato plant. On his way back down, he wrote a message. Look at me, I've climbed so high that I can see the world pass by. Mice and ants, an old black shoe. But Mary Lou, where are you? I've left you poems near and far. Won't you tell me where you are? Love, Herbie. And that night, when Mary Lou went out to snack on a tomato, she found Herbie's message glistening in the garden. What joy, what gladness, what delight! Mary Lou could hardly contain herself as she hurried to the barn. What's she going to do at the barn? The next morning, the first thing Herbie saw was, your rhyme is sublime. Herbie dear, I am here. Oh my goodness, look at the little line. You see the line down? And right next to it, there's Mary Lou. Let's see if he finds her. As always, when she saw Herbie, poetry filled Mary Lou's head. She said, Herbie, I am Mary Lou. We meet at last. How do you do? Herbie was tongue-tied. Suddenly he felt shy, but at last he blurted out, I'm fine. Will you be mine? Mary Lou and Herbie lived happily ever after. See all their little baby slugs? The end. Guys, I hope you enjoyed Slugs in Love. I hope you think about the things that we learned about slugs before we even started the book. We learned that they have the slime, and that was really important because that's how they were writing their messages. We learned that in the sun, they can dry out, so that they hide from the sun. We learned that they eat leaves and vegetables, so that would explain why they were in the garden. I hope you guys enjoyed our little venture with slugs and Slugs in Love. Take care, guys. Have a great Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and your families. And maybe you'd like to make a little Valentine's poetry like Mary Lou and Herbie. You could write some poems for the people you love.